everyone, and welcome back to Frequency Writer and Color the Magic. My name is Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, a creative spirit, and a messenger of rising, thriving, and creating in ascension times. And here we are on the cusp of April 2025. There's so much energy. There's a potency that everybody's feeling, a potency of change, a potency of quantum level creation. And I'm here to talk to you about those things and more today. So let's take a deeper dive into a bigger picture of you and also some inspirations for you in your journey, because I think we could all use a little bit of inspiration to be the divine creators that we came to be in these times. So here we are to spotlight the energies of April 2025. Spring is birthing. The divine creative hero is rising. We're going to talk a lot more about that in this message and coming videos. Creativity is a bridge to living our light in this new golden age. And it's time to rise as a grand, colorful phoenix in ascension times, right? That phoenix is such a metaphor for our journeys right now, right? There's so much of the old matrix that needs to turn to ash. And that might even be aspects of us that we've been letting go for some time. But what's beautiful is creating and being that divine creator, that creative life force adds all the colors to the phoenix that wants to rise in you to create your life now, here in these times, in these ascension times. So let's take a deeper dive into the big picture of you. And I'm so grateful you're here with me today to engage this review. So as we've just spotlighted, of course, spring is blooming here in North Carolina. I think, at least where I live, I'm hoping that we've seen the last of winter and everything is newly birthing, right? You see all those little plant shoots coming up. All the trees have their tiny, tiniest little buds, but it's emerging, right? Spring is emerging in our environment, in nature, in our lives, and also within us. So there's this energy of new birth and new creations that are inviting us and that are surrounding us and that are summoning us in so many ways. I want to speak to the truth seekers, the light seekers, the conscious creatives, and the creators. We're all called to partner and build with these new light codes, our new projects, some new services, some new inspirations, some new ideas. Whatever that newness is that wants to express through you, that is building the scaffolding of the new experience of your life in a divinely creative, ascended creation, right? We want to live as if we're already ascended, that we're already moving through that, we're already in it. So all of us can really allow in some of this greater light and this infusion of energy today that is summoning the creator essence in you to participate as a conscious creator in creating your life and thus building the world around you and contributing to the greater whole, of the greater good of the greater whole, right? In these ascension times, we are living and experiencing the endings of endings and beginnings of beginnings. The magnitude of what is unfolding in just those words, the endings of endings and the beginnings of beginnings. I mean, it's a massive ascension crescendo moment throughout time and space, right? The magnitude of that is just off the charts. But the magnitude of what is unfolding and emerging on our planet and in our soul journeys is beyond words, really. But we're here sharing together these insights. We could talk about these things here on this channel and on my blog on Substack. We're feeling them. I know we are all feeling the potency and the robustness of the energies pouring through us and the world around us every single day now. I mean, there's just so much light. And we're feeling that as sentient souls, as we feel that impulse, that creative impulse, that sentient impulse, that God impulse inside us to return to the sentient Garden of Eden, which is essentially Mother Earth in her risen 5D and higher frequencies. We are summoned back to the garden. That is such a theme. It has been a theme, and it's going to continue to be a theme in a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about. While much plays out in the drama, the theater, the movie playing out on the world stage, that a lot of times, at least for me, and I imagine it might for you, it feels more like a movie than reality. The illusion is exposing itself, isn't it? Right? It doesn't even feel real. and yet it's a movie reel, right? REEL. And so while a lot is playing out in the theater on the world stage, and also in our personal lives, because a lot is flushing to the surface for review and cleansing and clearing, of course, this stirs up a lot of old unresolved wounds, deeper wounds, karmic wounds, wounds that have kept us tethered to the 3D matrix. They're the wounds that won't heal. It's like the unhealable wound. I'm not an astrologer, but I know people talk about Chiron. And I think that's the wounded healer, right? Planet. And so I think there's some significance to this Chiron influence right now. But even without personal knowledge, much of astrology, I can feel it in the energies, right? It is stirring up these old unresolved wounds, old unresolved conflicts from our dense 3D journeys in this matrix over lifetimes. I'm feeling it. I'm sure you're feeling it. And on the one hand, while a lot is getting stirred up of those old wounds, maybe even ancient wounds that are playing out and your current lifetime's wounds, right? And so we're aware that much of these old unresolved wounds and conflicts that are stirring up from like the sludge of our lifetimes of experiences in a 3D matrix and a 3D realm, right? We feel that churning up. I have definitely experienced this, especially since the first of the year, but even some of last year. I mean, it's been brewing for most of the 2020s. I mean, this is a decade of ascension change. It's a decade of ascension transformations. And it's a decade that is summoning the endings of the way we have been and moved through space and time in this realm, as well as it is the birthing of the beginnings of beginnings. So we are really at the like movies wrap up phase, right? And we're also at the beginning of a brand new story. We're at the beginning of a brand new, I don't want to call it a show, but a brand new experience of God's divine creation. And it's so exciting on the one hand, and it can be so completely overwhelming on the other hand, because we're feeling it all. We're feeling it all. It's a holistic experience of the endings and beginnings of beginnings. And sometimes we may feel like, I don't have the capacity to feel this much energy. But oh, you do, because you're a divine creator of the creator. And as you activate those soul skills that we've talked about a lot together, as you activate those soul skills, your awareness, your discernment, your attunement, your ability to cleanse and release energies, set boundaries where we need to with ourselves and others, there's this whole level, it's a whole new level of self and soul care. And we have all of the skills we need inside us to guide us through this time of the simultaneous experience of the endings and beginnings of beginnings. So at the same time that all this is happening, that there's this old conflicts and this old karmic energy, this residue, some stuff might be deeply planted soul wounds that are kind of stuck or mired inside us. The right trigger or catalyst will come along to break that free and allow you to see what you've been carrying around as a bag of rocks inside us. We're not bringing that with us. So it's not fun when something pokes at our bag of rocks. It's not fun when something puts some salt in those very, very, very old, seemingly unhealable wounds, and they rear up and rise up again and again. But know that at the same time as you're seeing that old wound that really, really wants our attention, that really, really wants to clear, actually, if we use our soul skills, and sometimes we might need the support of a mentor or a coach, some people need a therapist, whatever you might need to move that energy through you, right? To don't grab hold of the bag of rocks that's coming to the surface, but see that it's on the move. Don't fight it and resist it. We're here to allow the resolution and the cleansing now of those much, much deeper wounds. And I have been experiencing them, and I imagine that you are as well. And I have so much compassion for all of us that are consciously doing this inner work. So at the same time, all that's going on with the endings and the surfacing of these unresolved, deep, deep soul wounds, right? We have this activation of the light. We have this activation of our creativity. We have this activation of our inner knowings of all that we once knew and were as infinite spirit soul beings who are God sparks of our one true divine source. We have always been those God sparks. We have always been these infinite spirit souls. Always, always. We have just lived in a denser realm where all that has been forgotten and where most people walk around comfortably in spiritual amnesia, but it's getting harder and harder to sleep. It's getting harder and harder to be sleeping and pull up those covers over their eyes so they don't have to see, right? The light is going to keep shining, right? These light codes are going to keep coming. And our focus is not on what everybody else is doing. Our focus is on what are we doing, right? How are we meeting these frequencies? How are we experiencing these old unresolved wounds rising to the surface from the depths of our being? Poke to the surface so we can actually see them, acknowledge them, witness them, and really make a conscious choice of how we're going to move that energy through so that it no longer needs to take up residence inside us, right? And that's part of our creativity. It's part of our creator beingness. It's part of the skills and the soul gifts that we brought through into this time. We just have to remember that we have them. It all lives inside us. We always knew this. We've always had this. We're just remembering. So we are the Creator's divine sparks that are here to light a pathway up and out of the darkness, right? And to step onto these new paths, requires an uncommon creativity. It's really an otherworldly creativity. It's a multidimensional creativity. And I would say that creativity of any kind requires courage. Our friend and teacher, Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker, talked about courage as the cost of greatness, right? That is the cost. It's like that's the fee to yourself, is that if you have some great idea, if you have some new inspiration coming through you for a project or work or a new offering somehow through your business, however that's coming through you, this newness that wants to birth, this newness that wants to experience a whole new level of you creating into this world, right? Courage is that cost. Courage is kind of the fee. You have to summon that courage and allow that courage to break through any fear that would try and tamp you back down and make you small. It's so true. So today in this conversation, I have many slides prepared and some topics of conversation. I've been deep in the muse myself as I really was taking a turn most of last year, certainly since the first of the year, certainly as some old wounds came up for me and put me in a still point. I also was sick for a while there. And so I had a lot of time with myself to really go into the muse and to get still and quiet and listen for what wanted to express through me. I'm never short on ideas, but I felt like what was changing was the gears inside me that wanted to create on a different level, to move in a different way, to receive inspirations and act on them in a new form or a new divine expression of that kind of inspiration. And so I'm still recalibrating some of those changes. I'm deep in the muse and I'm getting so many messages a lot of the time. It must be time. I definitely am experiencing that it's time for my inner creator to take a more active role in this higher dimensional way of creating and not so much the 3D way of manifesting. To me, those are very different frequencies and vibrations. And so with that said, in this video today, I'm mostly going to be planting seeds of much larger conversations that I'm going to be having in the coming weeks and months here on my channels. And so I am planting seeds about topics and themes and projects that I'm spending time with in the muse. And some of those topics and themes include this new version of the hero's journey, this divine creative hero's journey that I'm templating, and this importance and call to return to the garden. For all of these seeds that I'm getting all connect to the divine creative hero's journey and story. And that's what I'm going to be templating. That's what I'm going to be outlining. That's what I'm going to be teaching and sharing and hopefully inspiring in you, that you are the divine creative hero of your own life. And that connects us. You may not see it yet, but it does connect us with Eve and the Garden of Eden, the original creation, the blueprint for creation, our creativity. That's where our fuel source for our divine creativity is awakening in us. It's from the garden. So, one of the new stages of the divine creative hero's journey that I'm exploring right now is allowing becoming or experiencing the Fool. I was hoping to be able to have more together to talk about some of this with you in the different stages, but I'm just not there yet. But this came up again and again in the last couple of weeks with me, and I had some conversations with some friends about it, and it kind of really clicked into place for me of why does the Fool keep coming up? And some of my experiences with some of that shadow work that I've been doing, my own experience of being a fool or playing the fool or feeling foolish. Some of those energies have shown up in it. And it was really coming up that, and an awareness, a compassionate awareness that we can't get to where we're going if we're not willing to play a bit of the fool, the one who doesn't look like they know what they're doing, the one who doesn't look like they're thinking or making wise choices, who looks like they're trying things on, but they may be stumbling through it. We may it's kind of messy, maybe, to experience the Fool. And you will hear references to the Fool in some of my soul songs today that I'm going to share, because the Fool is a critical part of the divine creative hero's rise into the grand phoenix that he or she, ultimately you, are, right? To rise from the ashes in many aspects of the divine creative hero's journey, we first fall into playing the fool for a time to ultimately access our wisdom outside of the boxes that we have lived in, like the 3D matrix itself, right? Or our karmic stories or histories, to then rise from the ashes again and again, recreating ourselves again and again. We are those phoenixes. So expect more messages about this, about the Fool playing the Fool. It's a critical stage in the hero's journey that I'm templating. And I'm going to talk about more of this in our time together as it connects to all the other stages, but it connects to that ultimate colorful phoenix that is summoning us to resurrect, but in a whole new way, in a whole new octave, in a whole new way of being, that we engage this new creationary energy of this new golden age. And we witness where we're creating from the old 3D structures and understandings of how to make a way or make a life in a 3D matrix of density, right? And so lastly, I just wanted to spotlight that creativity is a bridge in these ascension times. Well, the news and events are intense and very potent a lot of the time now in the world and on that grand stage, and even in our own personal lives, right? Sometimes the news on the grand stage is affecting our personal lives, right? Let's remember that creativity is the fuel source of our dreams, right? And faith is the fuel of manifesting our dreams. Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker had said that. At one point in one of my podcasts with her, she talked about faith is the fuel of manifesting our dreams, right? And fear is the killer of dreams. Doubt is the killer of dreams, she would say. So faith and creativity are frequencies that we are called to spend time with in these days and weeks ahead. Embrace your inner divine creative hero, right? Your divine creative hero within. She or he has everything you need to see with greater clarity, through greater truth, through greater faith, creativity, light, and joy, and thus to create the wings when you step up in faith and creativity and clarity and truth and all those higher vibrational essences, right? You then begin to create the wings for the next soul experiences that your heart most desires, right? That your soul most desires. We are literally growing the feathers for our own wings through the faith and the trust and the clarity and the creativity. The creativity is such an engine. And I have always had that creativity engine inside myself. I'm pretty much a generator archetype, but I've had to learn to use it wisely. So in a way, perhaps maybe that's an experience of me expressing the Fool as a generator, right? Who is creating all kinds of things. And some of them were lovely. Some of the things that I've created and manifested have been beautiful and wonderful. But some of the things are things that I wished afterwards, that feeling maybe of some regret or maybe some shame, some of those lower frequency, the ego judgments coming in, the serpent coming in to smack you on the hand and say, you did it wrong. All those messages that come like, you shouldn't have tried that. You shouldn't have done that. Don't ever think about doing those things again. No, our fool is how we get outside the ego, outside the box that we're in. We try some things on as best we can with the greatest amount of discernment, but still allowing our soul the freedom to express and to be curious and to learn and to grow. When the fool has some experiences from looking unpracticed at those things, those are how you earn the feathers and how you grow the feathers for your phoenix's wings that are going to rise from the ashes from all of the endings of endings. And this is how you form those feathers for the beginnings of your new beginnings. This is such a massive frequency and concept. And I'm so excited to be spending time with these energies and these topics and these understandings with you, because so many of us are ready to free ourselves from ourselves so we can more fully rise. I think many of us have been in the process of extricating ourselves from the matrix for some time if you're listening to a message like this. But I think there's a whole other octave that wants to birth inside us, and spring, at least in the northern hemisphere, if that's where you're listening from, is ready to do just that. And you in the southern hemisphere, I believe you're going into the fall. If we're going into the spring, if that's correct, you're in that harvesting time period, but you are always a creator. Even if you're more in the stillness of fall and winter, there's still a creative life force, right? Creativity is the fuel source of our dreams, and you're still going to be seeding those dreams, even if you are in a time of greater stillness and a greater colder temperatures, and life has kind of come to a still point, or is coming to a still point. But so we are all these creator beings in all the seasons of our lives, but those in the northern hemisphere experiencing a literal spring season, we get to birth as everything in Gaia is birthing. And so I'm inviting all of you to come along on this divine creative heroes journey with me, because that is going to be the center of my messages: creativity and connecting with Eve. Many of you have followed my channel for a long time on YouTube and other social media platforms, and I've changed how I'm doing things, and I think this was all part of my pivot and my resets. And in this whole experience, as I got really still the last couple of months, who has come to find me but Eve? Eve is planting seeds in my awareness to talk more about the garden with you in many different things that I'm called to create right now. And so I will just plant some of those seeds, but maybe there will even be some direct messages coming through. We'll have to see, or at least the Eve archetype speaking through me, because I think I'm very connected with that soul and that vibration and that frequency and that awareness, as I've been willing to play the fool in my own experience. That's just one stage in this new hero's journey for the creatives, the artists, the dreamers, the innovators, right? I have been, and I've been feeling, and you can feel some shame or regret or whatever that may be, the wounds of having played the fool in our own life experiences, however that's manifested. But as I've allowed the wounds of that to come up, and I'm still working through them, but the beautiful thing of allowing what's surfacing in the endings of endings, the beautiful thing is that who we really are, those phoenix wings, those divine soul gifts are coming to find us. And Eve came to find me, and I'm spending a lot of time with her, and I'm really, really feeling the energies of the garden. So that's why you'll see it in the songs today. You'll hear it in the messages coming through in the coming weeks and months. You may see some messages coming through, directly from that energy source, directly from Eve's guidance and inspiration coming through me. So I'm excited. I don't know. I'm excited to see what unfolds and what is unveiled and what is revealed. So we're on quite a journey together. So, and lastly, I just wanted to say, for this slide and the big picture review for April and ongoingly in 2025, I'd like to spotlight some of Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker's teachings. She gave us a treasure trove of messages in so many of her books and her videos that you could still find on YouTube. One of her books is Daring to Be Great. And we will continue to review insights from that book because that's the book I've been working with. And I feel very close to Terry when I'm reading when she was in the muse and she was sharing things, right? And so I have 3 quotes from Dr. Terry today that I'm going to be sharing, talking about creativity, of course, since that is the path of the divine creative hero that I'm going to be talking about in my messages to come. We're going to hear from Terry, her insights about creativity and really daring to be great, I think, for a big part of this year. And so now I want to review a few more inspirational quotes from a few other people, as well as Dr. Terry, that are going to be speaking to the creative essence inside all of us. So this first quote and image is a message from John Muir. He said, "The power of imagination makes us infinite." That's it. That's how we leave the boxes of that myopic vision that we talked about for so long, and we expand our soul sight. The power of imagination makes us infinite. That is that expansive soul sight. It's through this higher vision that we see from the inside out, from our lenses of perception, from our soul sight. Our soul sight and our heart frequencies have no limits. So I engage the power of imagination frequently and joyfully as much as I can, because with all that's going on in the world, a lot of that story is like the old story. It's still happening currently, but the breakdown of systems is part of the dematerialization, and it's messy. But in my imagination, in my creative energy, in my creative life force, in my heart center, and in the allness of me, oh, that power of my imagination makes me infinite. And I feel like this being on the screen with those very colors of light, right? It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. And I invite you to drink in some of those frequencies and enter your power of imagination, right? That can fuel your dreams and make you infinite. The second quote comes from Tina Turner. She said, "Sometimes you have to let everything go. Purge yourself. If you are unhappy with anything, whatever is bringing you down, get rid of it. Because you will find that when you are free, your true creativity, your true self comes out." We are seeking, so many of us are seeking this limitless creativity. I remember in so many vision boards, I was always talking about unlimited financial and creative freedom, right? Of course, a generator would speak like that, but I think so many of us want to be in that sovereignty, want to be in the full expression of that freedom of self, freedom of our true creativity. And when we can experience even just fractions of that, even just little sprinklings of light throughout your day, your true self comes out. Your true self comes out. So we are purging ourselves of those old, heavier, denser thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and all those patterns and those wounds. We are making space to express our true soul light, to express our true creativity. It's such a phenomenal time if we'll flip the perception that the matrix is trying to give to us. Instead of it being sad or heavy or overwhelming or stressful, if you play in your day, if you engage that energy of creativity and you allow your soul to experience this, you start to feel more and more what a movie is that's trying to get your attention, to reflect to you the world it wants you to project back. What happens is the most skilled light workers, the most activated soul beings that are on the pathway home to the garden, we are here to reflect light. And for me, light and creativity and truth and curiosity and the energy and life force that comes through being excited and passionate about what you're building, what you're making, what you're innovating, what you're inspired about. That's how we change the world. That's how we flip from an upside down 3D dense matrix to a very alive, divine creation with all the abundance that the original garden shined, right? We're calling that back, but we have to be willing to purge and make space inside us. And that means we will feel some of the discomfort of the things that are hanging out with us, that bag of rocks I was talking about, those sandbags of sadness, right? Those traumas, we all have them. We all have them. I'm not saying that I'm beyond them or above them, but I am consciously moving that energy. And I'm doing it more in the first few months of 2025 in an active, conscious, discerning way than I think I've ever been able to do in my life, because I think there's so much energy to support that purging of the old, the endings of endings so that we can embrace and pour our light into the beginnings of beginnings. We are the alchemist in that situation. Okay, here's a quote from Louise Hay. Today I fulfill my creative side. I want to bloom wherever I am planted. Look at these beautiful flowers blooming where snow is on the ground. I see it all the time. Every year in North Carolina, the trees will start blooming and we know there's a couple winter storms still coming. The hardiness of them, the trust, the faith, to listen to the impulse to reach for the sun, to push through the soil, to do the work it has to do, or to allow itself to burst forth through the soil or through the branches on the tree, right? Courage is an act of greatness, right? It's the cost of greatness. It's all of it. Look at what these flowers, I'm sorry, I'm not a flower person. I don't know the name of those flowers, but they're beautiful, and their hardiness and their willingness to allow that journey to the surface, right? To find the sun. And I love how Louise Hay says she wants to bloom wherever she's planted. That's us. If you're in a situation you don't love right now, you can be creating throughout your day. Every day you create with what you make for your meals. You create for what shows you choose to watch. You listen, maybe you journal, right? Maybe you're creating a new story. You're a writer, you're an author. You're coming up with a new class that you want to teach. Whatever this might be. We want to bloom when we're planted, and we want to also allow our creativity. If we don't love where we're planted, we can appreciate where we're planted, and we can know we're creators where we're planted, and you can move yourself somewhere else. But we have to engage, and we have to indulge that fuel, that frequency, that life force of creativity. 100%. Okay, I love this picture of this woman. Creative people are curious, flexible, and independent with a tremendous spirit and a love of play. Henry Matisse. We need to embrace our inner child, right? We need to embrace your inner child didn't go anywhere. It may be a little bit dormant. Maybe you stuffed your inner child down into the base of your feet and your pinky toes, right? Maybe you have suppressed that heavily, but that's where your creativity, nothing's going to keep that. That is a buoyant energy and essence inside you. It's going to keep coming up to the surface. Maybe when your creativity is trying to bloom and it's working its way through the soil of you, it may also pick up some wounds from the past that's blocking your creativity. It doesn't mean you have to hold on to that. You can still become a child that's playful, and you also have a wise phoenix. You have a wise mentor inside you to guide you. You have the light within you. You have the God spark inside you. You have all your team of guides that are here to protect and divinely direct and guide you, right? We have access to all of this. So the more playful we can be, in my opinion, the better. The more playful we can be. And while the stuff that's going on in the world is serious, it is a serious exposure of the heaviness of the 3D matrix. But what is light is what's emerging. And so we are having to hold both those containers. But if you put your energy and your life force into your creativity, your inner child will come out. Your inner child will play with this pottery, will find some way to play. It will find some way to play. There's so many ways, there's so many ways to play in your life. We need to remember that curiosity, that flexibility, that spirit inside us that likes to be inspired. It wants to be inspired, and it thrives in being inspired. Okay, and Henry Matisse also said another word for creativity is courage. There is that courage coming up where Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker basically said courage is the cost of greatness, right? Henry Matisse is talking about another word for creativity is courage. It takes courage to get out there. It takes courage to share something that you love with another person or a group of people. It takes courage for me to be on these videos sometimes because I'm not really someone who loves being on camera. But it's a creation, and I love creating, and I love inspiring. That is my passion. I love inspiring and empowering people through creativity. So I love that quote, and I love that image actually on the screen. So creativity is courage, and courage is creativity. So now I have 3 slides from quotes of Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker. She said in the book, Dare to be Great, I learned the science of creativity and how the divine works for us as it works through us. Nothing happens by accident. There is an impersonal law of creativity working in everybody's life. Everyone is using this law either consciously or unconsciously. Most use this creative law of the universe unconsciously and have no idea why things are happening as they are. Of course, when we're unconscious creators, we don't understand the mixture of good and bad that is happening in our lives until we awaken to the fact that we are actually conscious creators. We can create consciously, and that our energies and thoughts and frequencies and feelings and all of that has creative power, and that the world we live in is our canvas. So it's very true. It's so powerful how Dr. Terry talks about the discovery in her book about the science of creativity and how the divine works for us as it works through us. That's a powerful statement. I love that quote from Terry. Okay, the next quote is all from Dare to Be Great, her book Dare to Be Great. Dr. Terry says, "We co-create our lives as an artist paints a picture. Wishes, thoughts, beliefs, and actions are our artist's tools." Beautifully said. Beautifully said. We create our lives as an artist paints a picture, right? Down to every little detail, down to every color of paint and stroke of the brush. We are creating on God's canvas. That is God's creation with our thoughts, our feelings, our energies, what we animate about, what we get excited about, and what we really passionately express. The universe is listening to all of that. The world, the creation, the fabric of creation is listening to you, the creator that's creating consciously or unconsciously. I would much rather create consciously with my paintbrush than unconsciously. I would imagine you would say the same. Okay, and the last quote from Dr. Terry: "My desires, beliefs, and mental concepts created a form into which the creative substance known as God's energy was poured. This is much like pouring water into an ice cube tray. When the water is frozen, out comes the cube in the exact form of the mold into which the water has been poured. The water has no choice other than to take the form of the mold or container into which it was poured. Creative substance has no choice but to take the form of our mental concepts, beliefs, and desires." I can't think of a more perfect metaphor than what Dr. Terry expresses there. It takes the form of our mental concepts, beliefs, and desires. And we have a new canvas. We are in the time of the beginnings of beginnings and the endings of endings. But the beginnings of beginnings is where we want to infuse our energies. And the endings of endings is what we're simply clearing out. We're witnessing, we're allowing the healing to take place, and we're letting it go. We're creating space for this creative substance, which is God's energy, to pour forth into what we're imagining, into what we're feeling, into what we're in the muse about in that divine creative hero's journey. Very, very powerful illustration and metaphor from Dr. Terry. So grateful. Okay, I just have a quick slide. I'm still in the muse, as I've said, about the divine creative hero and heroine's journey. I kind of use hero to kind of mean both, but it's just simpler language. But I truly mean the men and women engaged in this divine creative hero and heroine's journey. And so in my next video, I aim to have some of the core stages ready to share with you and to talk deeper about the description of each of those stages and what that means in your life as your own divine creative hero, because it's all here for our own, self-reflection, our soul reflection, to really embrace this process. I believe it's the divine creative hero that's headed back to the garden. 100%. For me, that's 100%. Okay, and then I want to share with you that I have created frequency flashbacks. I mentioned it in my last video, and I am successfully now bringing many of what were my channeled messages over on Frequency Writer. I've had issues with my website and my mailer there for years, and so this last 6 months at least has been a journey of figuring out where I really want to dock my messages, right? Where do I want to be my hub for my frequency writings and my messages? So I've chosen Substack, which many of you know. And I just want you to know that I've begun the process of bringing my Frequency Writer blog articles that were over on my website for many years, since 2016, onto Substack, which is frequencywriter.substack.com. Some of you are subscribed there. When I'm bringing over the frequency flashbacks in those writings, I'm bringing them through now and updating some of the images that I had in those original blogs. So they just have a little bit of an upgrade, but they are over there. So I have, I think, the first six Frequency Writer blogs that I've ever done, that I began in 2016. They are over on frequencywriter.substack.com, and I'm going to bring them all over until the whole collection will be there. So just keep an eye out. And I think what I was saying before is that I'm not sending the mailer for those who are subscribed on Substack. You would get a ton of mail from me, and I don't want to do that to you. I want to respect your time and your space and bandwidth and the memory or capacity of your inbox. Just know that they're there. So if you want to see some of those, you would have to go directly to frequencywriter.substack.com, and you'll see this image on all of the posts. So you'll know it's a frequency flashback, and you'll see the titles of the writings, and they're all numbered. So, okay, so I'm excited to announce that and to share that, because that has been a journey, kind of a long time in coming, and it's in transit. I'm in transit from that website over to Substack, but more and more I'm posting there, and there's a lot of inspirations that I don't necessarily bring into the videos, but you'll see posted there. Okay, and now I have some soul songs. There's really a lot here. I had so much fun. I was in the muse about many things. And as I was creating these songs, I figured I had to be a little more selective. So I will create a playlist that has all 15 of these songs that you can listen to separately. But the songs that are underlined, I'm going to play for you briefly here. And so to just continue to awaken that divine creative hero inside you that's rising, right? Music brings that feeling, that energy, that awareness, that passion up to the surface in a way that we can feel it, experience it, and embody it more consciously. So the first song that I'm going to spotlight here is Divine Creators Rising. So let's have a listen to that.
Fire that burns through the night, rising from shadows into radiant light. Heroes forged in struggles that made us whole, breaking all chains, redefining our role. We are divine creators born to shine. Building a are the divine.
There is something so powerful in this energy of divine creators rising. This is the message that I'm sharing, and that we're all collectively co-creating here together in this community. Together, we are these divine creators that are expanding, emerging, stepping into our gifts, embracing our courage, right? And moving into our greatness. This is that time. So, so powerful. Okay, the next song is called Ignite the Muse. Let's have a listen.
Deep in the dark we hold an ember, a tiny glow we can't surrender. It whispers low but burns so true, a beating heart within the hue. Fear may shout and doubt might linger, but art is calling like a singer. Step into the unknown pool, be brave enough to be the fool. We are the spark that breaks the night, a fire born to bring the light. Through every shadow we will shine, creating worlds that redefine. Oh. The canvas blank can feel so daunting, yet colors call the brave to haunting. A brush stroke wild yet undefined, unlocked doors within the mind. The muse will laugh and test your nerve, demanding more than we deserve. But courage grows while taking flight, and sets our spirits alight. Oh, we are the spark that breaks the night, a fire born to bring the light. Through every shadow we will shine, creating worlds that redefine.
So we are igniting the muse. It is such an exciting time. We are creating the worlds and redefining even what creativity looks like in a divine creation. We've only seen and known for a long time 3D creation, right? In a much denser reality. We don't even know, can't even probably fully conceive in our current awareness on the planet right now what it feels like to be divinely creative. But we are summoned and called to hear this message and ignite the muse within us that allows messages and these new inspirations and this new creative expression to pour forth through us. So this is a huge activation. It is so exciting to me. And I hope you can feel the energies in these songs that, again, when I have the whole playlist, you can play them all together. It's to really get that creative spirit in you going, moving, flowing, and in the groove. So beautiful. Okay, the third song that I'm going to play for you today is called Cosmic Quest.
In In the vastness of the galaxy unknown, a hero rises from the seeds they've sown, searching for the truth left in disguise, with stars to guide and fire in their eyes. Creativity's the key to break these chains, a bridge of light through storms and rains. A better world awaits beyond the veil. Together we'll prevail. We will prevail. We will prevail. Riding comets through the chaos, we dive through puzzles of the cosmos, we strive. Every question births a spark of flame, each mystery solved, never the same, never the same. The universe whispers its ancient song, a call to rise where we belong. Every soul an artist painting skies, blazing trails where the phoenix flies. Creativity's the key to break these chains, a bridge of light through storms and rains. A better world awaits beyond the veil. Together we'll prevail. We will prevail. In whirlwinds of doubt, the mind ascends, where the quest begins. The journey bends. Fear dissolves in truth, radiant lore. Unlock the gates, walk through the door. We will prevail. In whirlwinds of doubt, the mind ascends, where the quest begins. The journey bends, fear dissolves in truth, radiant lore. Unlock the gates, walk through the door. We will prevail.
I love that song, Cosmic Quest. Creativity's the key to break these chains. A bridge of light through storms and rains. A better world awaits beyond the veil. Together we'll prevail. And then I love this. The universe whispers its ancient song, a call to rise where we belong. Every soul an artist, painting skies, blazing trails where the phoenix flies. That phoenix is such a metaphor for us. I don't know if you're all feeling it, but I'm really feeling this phoenix rising energy, right? So beautiful. Okay, the next song is We Are Home. Let's have a listen.
We are home in the garden's glow, soft earth beneath where the wild winds flow. Ancient whispers hum through the air. Roots run deep, we're connected there. We are home in our sentient call, born to rise, but designed to fall. Circles turning like the wheel of time, threads unbroken in a dance divine. It's our first language carved in stone, the sacred song we've always known. In the heart of peace we'll stand tall, gifts unbound within us all. This new era breathes like the spring, with every soul an unfolding wing. Hear the echoes of ages past, praised by peace, a home at last. We are home in the starlight's gaze, souls alive in the cosmic haze, hands entwined in a quiet reprieve. Together we'll weave what we believe. It's our first language carved in stone, the sacred song we've always known. In the heart of peace we'll stand tall, gifts unbound within us all.
This is such a beautiful song. It's speaking all about sentience. And if any of you have visited frequencywriter.substack.com and you see me bringing these original Frequency Writer blog articles and messages over, you'll see that I'm amazed, the first like 6 messages were all about our sentience, our first language. And then, of course, in this song, it's singing that we are home, basically, in this sacred song, where we are home in this sacred language of feeling. That's where telepathy is. That's where our inner GPS, that's where our higher intelligence, that's where our ability to access these higher sensory abilities inside us lives. That's where we can connect to all beings in all time and all space. It's through our sentient awareness. It's through our sentient senses, right? It's through our sentient operating system, whatever language you give it. Sentience is the way. It's the way home to feel the whole divine creation, right? And to thrive in it and to thrive in it. Okay, the next song is called Return to the Garden. I think I have 2 songs called Return to the Garden. This is one of them.
Eve's footsteps whisper in the wind, through the forest where dreams begin. Her strength, a root so deep and wide, she's the star we'll never hide. It's time to return to the garden we lost, where the rivers meet and spirits cross. Underneath an ancient sky of blue, Eve's calling us back to truth anew. She's guided us through veils shadowed paths and peaks we climb. Her voice, the dawn, it clears the haze, a shimmering light beneath sun's blaze. Here we stand with hearts sincere, bound together free of fear. The seeds she planted now will bloom, breaking forth from earth's cocoon. It's time to return to the garden we lost, where the rivers meet and spirits cross. Underneath an ancient sky of blue, Eve's calling us back to truth anew. Her faith in us will light the way through endless night to brightest day. A garden waits with love unbound, where harmony echoes a healing sound. It's time to return to the garden we lost, where the rivers meet and spirits cross. Underneath an ancient sky of blue, He's calling us back to truth anew.
Wow, just the frequencies in that song. It calls us home, right? It's so soothing. It so speaks, I think, a certain sound frequency of the soul. Anyway, it's calling us to return to the garden, and Eve is calling us back to truth anew, a renewed truth, a return to truth, perhaps, right? And also, there's this message that she's guided us through the veils of time. She's been with us the whole time. She's been journeying with us archetypally, very likely physically incarnated through time with us. But there's much wisdom in the summoning back to the garden, the summoning of creatives and artists and dreamers and the children of God to return to the garden to create in new ways, in new octaves, in the ways we were designed to create versus simply to survive a 3D matrix of separation and division and discord, right? And corruption. We can add all kinds of descriptors in for the 3D matrix, but that's the illusion story. The garden is the true story of God's divine creation, and Eve is calling us back to the truth of the garden. So beautiful. Okay, the next song is Eve's Return.
Eve's return is drawing near. Her whispers heal the edge of fear. Through countless years she held the thread, a guiding light where we've been led. It's time to rise, it's time to bloom, to cast off shadows, shed the gloom. Her voice is calling clear and true, to the garden where life renews.
a sacred bond, a timeless thread. She knew the path where all was led. The earth, it sings, her echoes strong. The heart returns where we belong. It's time to rise, it's time to bloom, to cast off shadows, shed the gloom. Her voice is calling clear and true, to the garden where life
Wow. Can you feel that? Can you feel those frequencies in the garden? It sings the melody in this one. It's very soulful. Eve's return is drawing near. Her whispers heal the edge of fear. Through countless years, she's held the thread, a guiding light where we've been led. It's time to rise, it's time to bloom, to cast off shadows, shed the gloom. Her voice is calling clear and true to the garden where life renews. That's what I feel in the sound frequencies of the song, in the garden where life renews. That's the call. Who's ready to be renewed? I for sure am. Right? Many people have heard of med beds and the possibilities of the new innovations of technology that can heal so many things that humanity has had to just live with or suffer through. How about that? So Eve's returning, and we are returning to Eve and the garden where life renews. That's so, so beautiful. I hope that really speaks to your heart and speaks to where you are in your journey, because I think Eve is summoning all of us to connect with her and to connect with the garden and to be led by the divine template, the divine blueprint in us, instead of the illusion that wants our attention so loudly most days in these times right now. But in the inner spaces, in songs like this, we can feel what's true. We can feel we're being led back to who we really are. So I have 3 more songs. The next song is Spark in the Dark.
Paint the sky even if it's gray. Colors come where doubts dare to stay. Be the roar when silence takes the lead. Light the fire that the world will need. We are the spark in the dark tonight, burning bold in the absence of light. Dive in deep, let the muse take hold. Be the fool that turns the dust into gold. Chasing dreams with a fearless grin. Lose to win, let the real begin. No regrets when your heart's set free. Make the call even when you can't see. We are the spark in the dark tonight, burning bold in the absence of light. Dive in deep, let the music Stand on the edge where courage flows. Dance with the winds, only the brave know. Speak your truth, let the canvas bleed. In every mess grows a lasting seed. We are the spark in the dark tonight, burning bold in the absence of light. Diving in deep, let the muse take hold. Be the fool that turns the dust into gold.
Right? Like the spark in the dark that the world will need. We are the bringers of the light back into this realm of darkness. We are bringing this new era, this new earth, those awake who can feel it, sense it, see it, through our sentient gifts. We are the spark in the dark that's lighting up the original creation and clearing out the old one. Talk about an epic decluttering. Those of us that are sparks in the dark that are here to light the way, we want to enter the muse, enter our creativity, use our sentience or embrace our sentience that's bringing forth this new quantum creativity that wants to express through us, that wants to express through you. So I love that song, Spark in the Dark. I have two more. The next one is Rise and Glow.
Shed the layers, watch them fall. Walls we built, they've kept us small. Old skins crack in golden rays, a brighter path through shaded maze. We rise from ashes, dust to flame. The shift is real, we've staked our claim. Are fierce, but we've got grit. A universe that won't forget. We rise from ashes, dust to flame. The shift is real, we've staked our claim. The light within will pave our way. We're the heroes of our day. Its bones, we find power where we're thrown. Trust the waves, the tides will sing. Transformation, it's our thing. We rise from ashes, dust to flame. The shift is real, we've staked our claim. The heroes of our day. We rise from ashes, dust to flame. The shift is real, we've staked our claim. The light within will pave our way. We're the heroes of our day.
I think one of the things I love about Rise and Glow is the chorus. We rise from ashes, dust to flame. The shift is real. We've staked our claim. We're choosing it. We're choosing to rise. We're choosing this ascension. We're choosing to shed the old layers and the things that have kept us small, right? The light within will pave our way. We are the heroes of our day. Yes, we're the divine creative heroes of our day. The world needs those sparks in the dark. They need us to rise and glow as the lighthouses of these times, right? With discernment, with awareness, right? We want to be divinely directed, protected, inspired, all of those things. But we don't want to be afraid to shine because that's what keeps us small. That's where courage and creativity may be synonyms, but you still have to take the action. You still have to have the courage that fuels the creative action. So powerful. Okay, and the last one is set the world alight. Let's have a listen.
Feel the fire deep inside your chest. Take the leap, let go, don't second guess. Brush in hand or dreams to sow anew. You're a lighthouse shining bold and true. Set the world alight with who you are. Every scar and sparks a guiding star. Freedom's found when you embrace your hue. The masterpiece is simply being you. Strokes you paint rewrites the sky above. Every tune you hum's a hymn of love. Courage hides in every risk you take. Dreamers mold the world that others break. Set the world alight with who you are. Every scar and sparks a guiding star. Freedom's found when you embrace your hue. The masterpiece is simply being you. Dance on edges, laugh at the unknown. Seeds of wonder bloom where wild's been sown. Artists whisper truths that lead the way. Stitching colors into every day. Set the world alight with who you are. Every scar and sparks a guiding star. Freedom's found when you embrace your hue. The masterpiece is simply being you.
Wow, I love this song. And of course, I saved my favorite for last. The masterpiece is simply being you, right? It's all about setting the world alight, being who you are. I don't have all the lyrics in front of me for this last one, but I love that, right? We're here to embrace our hue, our colors, our colorfulness, our creativity, our shine. This is our time. This is the time of those rising divine creative heroes stepping into our soul mastery, stepping up with courage into our creativity to fuel the life force of our dreams. This is that time. For many years, I've been in a very dreamy state, right? I'm a big dreamer. I have a huge imagination and I've got that generator energy. What's powerful and what's so awe-inspiring, I think, for me, is to see that that quantum dreaming now wants traction. It wants to sow its seeds in the earth's soil here in form, bringing the formless into form. That is the role of many light workers, light warriors now, right? To be the divine dreamers, to be the quantum creators, to embrace the divine creative hero's journey and to go on that journey, because there are stages to the hero's journey. They're not linear, right? So it's not like you have to progress from step 1 to step 2 or stage 1 to stage 2. You might move around in the fluidity of your journey. But if you can recognize the stages where maybe you don't want to enter the muse, maybe you are resistant to feeling the fool, so you never try, you never begin. Remember, this is the time of the beginnings of beginnings. God is counting on all of us to bring through the God projects that we said we would fulfill, that we would bring from the formless into form. That's us. We are the divine creative heroes of this time. So thank you. Thank you for listening to those soul songs. I will have the complete set of soul songs in its own playlist that you can listen to, and I'll have that up shortly. Okay, and lastly, I have a poem. AI helped me write this, but with all the feelings that I've been feeling, the song of Eve's return, right? Of course, still the metaphor of the garden, the metaphor of creatives and creators. Let's hear this energy of the song of Eve's return. In the dawn of time, beneath the leaves so green, Eve danced in Eden, innocent and serene. All needs were met, abundance flowed like streams. Trust wove her days in golden, endless dreams. Then slithered doubt, the serpent's silken tongue, a whispered lie where harmony once sung. The fruit was plucked, the veil of grace was torn, and Adam fell beside her, both forlorn. Cast from the garden, their journey took flight, through shadowed veils and centuries of night, a denser realm where spirits seemed to fade, yet in their souls a spark of God still played. Through every life they carved their winding way, creators bold with hands of flesh and clay, each trial a thread, each loss a tale to tell, a hero's quest through heaven and through hell. Now here we stand, where chaos reigns supreme, the world a mirror of that ancient dream. Yet Eve's soft voice, a call through time's expanse, stirs in our hearts, ignites the soul's advance. The creatives rise, their vision lights the dawn. Through art and fire, the garden is redrawn. With every stroke, we heal what once was spent. Eve leads us home, our sacred grand ascent. I may post that also on Substack, just a short post unto itself. The song of Eve's return. It has been a long, long journey. And really, maybe Adam and Eve were the original creatives that fell from grace, innocent as they were in the beginning. They couldn't conceive of such a deceiver as that serpentine energy. They just couldn't imagine it. They were so innocent. Who were they like? They may have played the fool. And in playing the fool, this entire 3D separation cycle and experience of thousands of years was able to play out. And all of their descendants have also played the fool with the serpent lifetime after lifetime, trapped in our karmic journeys, trapped on the karmic treadmill of our patterns and our stories and all the feelings and traumas that we carry because of that. We are here in a sacred grand ascent, and who is coming back for us but Eve, the original creative or creative, right? There's so many messages from Eve in our everyday language and in our words, but in our sentience, in the songs that we listen to. I love creating music with Suno because a lot of the songs that I do here, and of course I like all kinds of music, but I like creating music and songs that reflect the journey now, that bring in the language of what the divine creative hero is actually facing, transmuting, transcending, and rising beyond, and then choosing and rising in their frequency to re-enter the garden, right? The song of Eve's return is also a song of our return to the garden. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for spending your time with me today. I want to invite you to join me on my Substack page, frequencywriter.substack.com. Some of you are subscribed. If you are not subscribed, I invite you to go there and to subscribe. I am, as I've said, in the process of moving over older Frequency Writer messages into a shiny new form and format on this venue of Substack. And eventually the whole collection will be there. I invite you to join me and to subscribe. You can still visit frequencywriter.com, my website there, and you can see my Shine Your Light illustrated book series there, and you can also see the Freeing an Incarcerated film trailer there. I'll eventually have those up on Substack as well. If you are seeking any new blog posts, my new blog posts or messages or podcasts or videos, they're going to be found on Substack. That's where all the new stuff is going. You can find me on Color the Magic on YouTube and subscribe there. You can find me at Whole Soul School and Foundation, my nonprofit that I co-founded with my partner. And so there's a lot of amazing messages about the hero's journey and some wonderful insights from many guests in the fireside chats on that. And there's also other podcast categories. And it's still a seedling intention. Whole Soul School and Foundation, it's revised. It's basically new mission, vision, and purpose is to inspire connection with the earth, the arts, with animals, and with abundance. Doesn't that sound like the garden? Inspiring connection with the earth, the animals, the arts, and abundance. Yep, that's kind of a garden's mission right there. So if you feel inspired, please consider donating to this humanitarian project, and that's going to keep growing its seeds and hopefully make a bigger global impact as funds support that project. And you can find me on various social media platforms, mainly on Rumble, YouTube, X.com, Truth Social, Telegram, and Substack. Sometimes on Facebook. Sometimes I update that, so you could check that there. And also on Spotify and iTunes. So please share this video with anyone who might benefit from these messages. Any of those divine creative heroes that you know in your life who could really appreciate some of this inspiration and the future conversations that we'll be having around this. And I want to thank you for visiting with me today and to the end. And I will see you again soon for more inspirational podcasts, messages, and musings coming up in April 2025. All right. Blessings, everyone. Blessings in your journey. You are the spark that's lighting the dark. You are the divine creative hero on the planet right here and right now to fulfill your mission and bring forth God's great works. Okay. Blessings. I'll see you soon.